Hey, sixth grade. So our video looks a little different today because I wanted to look at some pictures on my computer. So here we go. So last week we started our chapter about water on Earth, and we learned a lot about like what water is, how it acts, where you might find it on the Earth, how much water there is on the Earth, and stuff. This week we are looking at all the different locations where you can find water. So in this video, we're going to learn about all the places you can find fresh water. So the first and biggest chunk of fresh water can be found in glaciers and ice sheets. So what is a glacier? A glacier, like you can see in the pictures right here, check this out, it's kind of wild. You'll find these things like up in the mountains in like Alaska or northern Canada, things like that. Glaciers are giant rivers of frozen ice that are slowly sliding their way down towards the ocean. So they're thick layers of ice. You can see they can be very, very thick. They break off into giant chunks and fall into the ocean. These are big rivers of slow-moving ice that are slowly going down towards the ocean. This is where you'll find a lot of water. A lot of water on the Earth is frozen in glaciers and in something called ice sheets. So ice sheets are a little different from glaciers. Ice sheets are flat, frozen ice, frozen water, that spreads out in all directions. So a glacier is a lot more like a river, where it's one flowing stream. But an ice sheet is like a big, huge, flat area of ice that's slowly spreading outwards. So right here in this picture, you can see how the ice is spreading out into the ocean, and it'll break off and float away into the ocean, and that's where we can get some icebergs and things, sort of like in this picture over here. And that is, you'll find this at like the North Pole and the South Pole, and northern Russia, and things where there's a lot of really cold weather. There's some beautiful pictures that people have taken from there. Okay, so ice is the biggest place you'll find fresh water on the Earth. It's frozen. The second place that you'll find the most fresh water is in the ground. So groundwater is the water that fills in the space in among the dirt particles and rock particles that you'll find underground. If you dig deep enough, pretty much anywhere, you will find water eventually. There is something called the water table, you can see right here. That is the level of water that you can find in the ground. Some places the water table is only like 10, 20 feet down from the surface of the Earth, but in other places it can be 30 or 40 feet down from the surface of the Earth. But places like wetlands or swamps or bogs are places where the water table has risen so much, has gotten so high, there's so much water in the ground, that it actually comes up above the ground in a place where there might be like a little bit of a valley or something. It just starts to fill up with water because the water table has risen so high. So groundwater is a place where people have been getting water for a very long time through wells and from like wetlands or holes that they've been able to dig and access the water that way. And of course, the other way that you can get water, the other place you can find fresh water is in rivers. Rivers and lakes have a lot of fresh water. However, compared to like the amount of fresh water that exists on the Earth, rivers and lakes together make up only about 0.3% of all the fresh water on Earth. That's so low. Ice makes up about, I think like 80% of the fresh water on Earth is frozen in ice, and just a very tiny amount is found in rivers and lakes. Okay, but what is fresh water? Fresh water on Earth is known as something that has less than 2% salt in it. Actually, I believe it is less than 0.2% salt. So it has a very, very, very low content of salt and other things. And that is the only water that is actually safe for us to drink. Now we can purify other kinds of water to make fresh water, but that requires a lot of work and effort. So the main two places that human beings get water for drinking is from groundwater through wells and from rivers and lakes. So fresh water can be found in a lot of different places, and we're going to be doing some labs and watching videos about this in the future. So that is all. See you later.